2-year-olds working for Elon Musk. We pledge allegiance to the United States of America.
God damn it, shut down the Senate! We are at war! Anytime a person can pay $250 million into a campaign and they be given full access to the Department of Treasury of the United States of America, we are at war! Thank you. We will see you in the courts, in Congress, in the streets. Elon Musk is a Nazi Nepo baby.
The thing that has Democrats most alarmed is what's going on at the Treasury Department. And we can put up this next element. Wired has been doing some really good reporting on who is actually involved in this DOGE committee. It's a group of kids that range in age from 19 to 25. If we can get Nathan Tankus on the line, we're going to talk to him.
Unfortunately, he just had to cancel. He's got a problem with his internet connection. So.
All right, no Nathan Tankus. They're hacking him.
Yeah, he's been working triple overtime basically in the last several days.
Yes. So Nathan Tankus, and we could send people over to his newsletter, which is called Notes on the Crisis, or crisisnotes.com. What he has been reporting based on Treasury sources, and which the Treasury so far has been denying, is that the DOGE team has what's called, quote, read and write access inside the bowels of the Treasury Department. So very quickly, Elon Musk's team went directly for the pipes. Said, okay, who is pressing the buttons? Who's cutting the checks? Like who's after everything gets, so Congress approves the spending, directs it. The agencies then confirm that this is how Congress intended to direct it, and then they tell somebody to send the checks. Musk is like, how is that? Where's the system that is happening? They went to this system, and the bureaucrat who is in charge of that, David Lettick, is that his name? He'd been a Treasury official since 1989, and he said, you cannot have direct access to this system. They insisted, and he resigned in protest, which really sent a shock through the Treasury Department. Because I spoke with a former very senior Treasury official yesterday who worked directly with this guy, and he said he's the most small c conservative bureaucrat, the absolute definition of a civil servant. Could be frustrating at times because he's going to tell you chapter and verse what the statute is that you need to comply with for him to do the thing that you're asking him to do. You can imagine Elon Musk does not want to hear anything about statutes and laws.
No.
He just wants access. This is the guy whose job it has been over the last decade to do what are called the extraordinary measures when we pierce the debt limit, which we already have. It was in January we went through the debt limit. We're now in the period of what's called extraordinary measures, which means there isn't enough money in the Treasury to basically pay everything. So and anybody who lives on the margins knows exactly how this works. You move things around. You got this money coming in here. What's the latest I can pay this bill? What are the late fees on this one? So I can move this. So you're just trying to keep your head above water. And so right now, they call it extraordinary measures. The Treasury's just trying to keep its head above water and make sure that the must-pay bills get paid. And the must-pay bills are the Treasury bonds and Treasury-like instruments, because those are the collateral for the entire global financial system. So if you are due cash for your Treasury note and it doesn't come, then now your counterparty is screwed. That counterparty was counting on this thing that has never broken in the system. So this guy, as we've gone through debt ceiling crises under Obama and under Trump, and now a new one, and then Biden, and then a new one under Trump, this guy has been the one that's made sure that all the payments have kept flowing. And people say he's like a magician. Like his ability to do this is, it leaves people utterly amazed. He's the one that has always briefed Treasury and also briefed Congress about how this is going. And everyone has always said, like, God does just an absolutely incredible job of it. The X date they're estimating is about 6 months from now. Like, we can move money around until then. In April, obviously, when you guys all send your checks in to the IRS, we're going to see a big plus up in the bank accounts. And so and then June, there's more money that comes in with the extensions and stuff like that, and corporate taxes. And so they think that maybe we've got till July-ish, but we're not sure. That's when it's run meticulously. So now this guy's gone. And let's hope that his deputies and whoever's left know how to move this around. That's
whoever's left.
Whoever's left.
Yeah.
That's kind of an aside. The other point that this senior official made to me is that, and it's one that you have probably already figured out. The code and the hardware and the software for these pipes that are the most important pipes in the global financial system are many decades old. Mm-hmm. Congress just has not appropriated money to redesign the pipes using modern technology. So my late great aunt, Mimi, she started coding in the 50s and 60s, and was doing some of it for the BEA and for the government. Like the code that she was touching in the 60s is still there today, like 60 years later.
It's incredible.
And so these 19-year-olds who have probably, they were taught about this stuff. They don't have, I guess it's COBOL. They don't, and I'm sure they're brilliant. Like these
sure
kids.
They are.
Like one of them was the one who won the contest, being able to figure out Julius Caesar's father-in-law's like Roman texts that were burned
with an algorithm. Right?
Like he figured out using AI to like read some of these things. Like, get some of the smartest people on the planet, I'm sure. Mm-hmm. Being that smart doesn't mean you won't make mistakes. Mm-hmm. So according to Tankus and others, these kids now have the ability to push new code into the system here, which is utterly alarming to everybody who's familiar with the system. Because if you do it wrong, and not even necessarily wrong, like you could do it right, but like the system is such that it can't handle this code that you've just pushed in there, and it breaks it. Mm-hmm. Like you don't know how it breaks it, where it breaks it, how to fix it, and then now you don't know who didn't get paid. Now, in your effort to clean up fraud, waste, and abuse, you might end up costing the government so much extra money, getting sued, and then also trying to figure out which payments didn't go out, and then being liable for all of the downstream consequences for the payments that didn't go out. And there's also reporting that some of what the coders are trying to put in reduces visibility of what Musk's doggy team is doing here. So, in other words, this is they're trying to pick a fight around the Impoundment Control Act. Like they've been very clear about that. The Impoundment Control Act was brought in the 1970s by Congress to try to put a check on Richard Nixon, who was claiming that he, as the executive, had the power to just stop a payment. Mm-hmm. Congress says, we're going to fund this bridge building project over here. He signs that into law, and then he turns around and says, actually, we're not going to do that. And Congress is like, no, that's clearly not constitutional. You're the executive. You execute our laws. And just to be clear, here's the Impoundment Control Act. Here are the circumstances under which you can do this. They're very carved out. Otherwise, you just have to spend the money. Russ Vogt, the Republicans believe that the Impoundment Control Act is unconstitutional and they want a court fight. But in the meantime, Elon Musk is saying, okay, well, if we're going to stop payments and these bureaucrats aren't going to let us because it's illegal, we just need to take the keys from them and start pressing the buttons ourselves.
And let it play out in court. Yeah.
Somewhat let it play out in court, but also prevent it from getting to court in some cases.